Hey, what is up, YouTube? Been meaning to make this video for a while, and I'm going to show you some of my very favorite knives. The make, the model, the price I paid, note of interest, some of my folding knives, as well as my fixed blades. But before I do, I just want to ask a quick question. What got you into knife collecting, if you're into it? Also, do you treat a knife differently that's ever cut you? So I always think it's a bad sign if you got a knife that's tasted your blood. I try to avoid that at all costs, but if one does bite me, I always treat it a little bit differently and way more careful with that knife from that point forward. Um, also, let me know if you look at your knives more as utility tools, works of art, or as weapons. I have knives that I definitely look at as those are weapons. I have knives, most of my knives though are utility tools, and a lot of them are collectibles. They're works of art. What do you think? Anyway, let's jump right into it. Here are my knives in no particular order, except for I will finish with my favorite knife. All right, we're going to start with this one. This is one of my oldest knives that I have. I always called it Blinky. It is a SOG Blink. I don't think they make these anymore. Discontinued knife, but just worked the hell out of this knife over the years and really love it. Cost me about $32. Again, SOG Blink. So this is my next knife here. You all know this very iconic looking knife, which is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And I've had this for a long time. I think I bought it for about 140 bucks. And I call it a workhorse. It's just an absolute dependable workhorse of a knife. Again, kind of more on the military weapon kind of a knife, but all right, the next one up is another workhorse knife, and it's another iconic knife. A lot of people happen to think this is probably the very best knife that you can buy. I won't argue with that, but personally, I have other choices. This, of course, is a Benchmade Osborne 940 with the aluminum scales and the S30V steel. Awesome knife. I bought it for about $190. Okay, next I'm going to call this my overrated knife. Everybody seems to like this. I know it's versatile, but you know, not a huge fan. This, of course, is a Benchmade Bug Out. I won't get rid of it. I mean, I like the knife fine enough, but it's overpriced and overrated. A lot of people love this knife. I don't get it. But on the other hand, I won't get rid of it. It's a decent knife. For me, just a little overrated and overpriced. I think I bought this at $160. Next is the American Lawman. When I bought this, if you guys know the American Lawman, it comes all black, has the black vinyl coating on the pocket clip as well as the blade. I took that off. I stripped it off. I checked out a YouTube video on it, and I love the way that it looks. And then I also had, sanded down the scales, the really hard scale, and that way it doesn't rip the hell out of my pocket. But love this knife. It is a workhorse, a little hard to operate. You got to really dig your thumb in there, but otherwise it's just a beautiful knife. Won't let you down. Next one we have is the Zero Tolerance, the ZT 0801. That is a flipper, titanium flipper. This is discontinued. I think the value of this really kind of increased over the years. I do love this knife. It's a solid knife, and it's got that kind of like the same kind of blade as the American Lawman, you know, that thick blade, but I really like this knife. I probably will end up selling it though, just because the value of it is pretty good. I can get, I think I bought this knife for about $127, and I think it's worth about $290 or something. Speaking of discontinued cool knives, this is probably my most original looking knife. This is a Spyderco Battle Station Dial-X. Look at that rhinoceros kind of horned or tip on that knife. One time I lost this knife, and I think it was actually stolen by this guy, and then I looked and I think he felt bad for me and acted like he found it and gave it back to me. But was really grateful nonetheless, one way or the other. And I'll tell you something, I bought this knife for about $145. All right, the ProTech TR3 Tactical with the fish scales. I do like that look. And it is a switchblade, very nice knife. But again, this is one of them I'll probably end up selling. It's a little worn, but I bet I can get a good price for it. I think I bought this from a dealer in Las Vegas for about $195. Another one that I just had to get because it's such a great value, the Cold Steel Tough Light. I mean, this is an outstanding value. I think I bought this for 28 bucks. All right, the next up is the Benchmade Cricket River. What a gorgeous looking knife, kind of based on that Buck 110 frame. It's just outstanding. I bought it specifically because I love that wood scales. I wanted a Sage, I believe it's a Sage 3 with the wood. Wasn't able to get that, so this is what I settled for, but I'll tell you, it's pretty expensive. I think this ended up costing me $225. Right, speaking of the Buck 110, there it is. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this now. Let's see here. All right, we'll call it that. Yeah, this is a beautiful knife, classic, iconic. This was actually gifted to me by my brother, so I did not buy it, and I will not sell it. Hey, this is an M-Tech knife. Another one. It's kind of on the less expensive side, but one I will never sell because it was gifted to me as well. I was in the Marine Corps, and this is a Marine knife gifted to me by my mom. My mom's no longer with us, so of course this is holds a special place in my heart. Here's another knife. It was worn and quite used when it was given to me, but it was gifted to me by my brother. So another gift. It is a Polcraft knife, and I love it. This is solid. I mean, if you could feel this, it just has a really good feel to it. Plus, it's got that nice skull crusher or glass breaker, depending on how you look at things. Some honorable mentions. So this is a switchblade. Honorable mention, this is a large Spyderco. Honorable mention, so this is a Schrade, which is kind of a Buck 110 ripoff. No, actually, I look at this like, hey, it was put on the Buck 110 model, but I'm going to show you something here real quick. This is the Schrade, and this is the Buck 110 here. Side by side, they almost look identical. There are some differences, obviously, but they're both solid knives. The Schrade's a good knife. So anyway, honorable mention. Next one is probably my most expensive knife. This is the Benchmade Infidel. Had to have one. Guess what happened to it? The pocket clip got hooked on a bag that I was throwing away, and so the knife got thrown away with the bag. It broke my heart, so I had to buy another one. So this is the second one I owned. And anyway, what a heartbreaker. But hey, I got one. I've always wanted one. This is the Benchmade Infidel. Cost me $400. Here's another standard that every knife collector should have in their collection. This is the just iconic standard must-have Benchmade Griptilian, and by far and away wins the prize for the best sounding snap. By the way, this one cost me, I think, $120 or something like that. Maybe it wasn't even $100. Maybe it was $120. All right, last folding knife, and I'm going to take a little time to show you this. Sage 1. This is actually the second Sage 1 that I've had. The first one was lost, sadly. And I swear to God, the scales on that first one were different. But this is probably 7 years old, and it is by far and away my very favorite. It's the EDC I carry every day. I love the clip. I love everything about this knife. I love the way it keeps an edge. And as you can tell, I do have a sharp maker and sharpen my own knives. But I do love this knife. It's never, ever let me down. It always looks good. I also bought a a Sage 5 with the lock, the back lock, and gave that to my son. This has got the liner lock. But I think the Sage 2 was titanium, the Sage 3 was wood, the Sage 4 was something else. But at any rate, what a great knife. I highly recommend this. I don't know how much you can buy it for. I think I ended up buying this for about $120. I think they go for about $140. All right, let's get to some honorable mention fixed blade knives. I was in the Marine Corps, and this knife right here was my K-bar in the Marines. I bought this at the PX San Mateo 62 area in Camp Pendleton, California in 1983. It's been to the field with me numerous times, and was confiscated once by the Chicago Police Department, but never for very long, because once that cop took it, I begged him pretty much to give it back. And I explained to him that that wasn't really a weapon. It was an issued, I told him it was issued K-bar. And anyway, I think I played on his sympathies and he gave it back. But yeah, this was my K-bar. As you see, it's got my initials right there that I carved in with this tip. Next up is the SE5 survival knife. I didn't lock it in there, but it's got that great lock on there that if you clip it into that Kydex and you lock it, it just locks. I have taken this out to the field a couple times. It is solid. I call it my tank. It's my tank of a knife. I do have that skull on there. I love that. Come on, show yourself. Here we go. Yeah, that's badass. Anyway, and of course, as you notice, most of my knives, if not all of them, are made in the good old US of A or somewhere else. Not in China. I think I just did a video on this one. Yes, I did. This is the Joker Lince, or Lince, however you want to say it. My dagger. I've wanted one. I actually wanted that Applegate Fairbairns, but because I couldn't get one, I did want this one. Yeah, this was one I considered to be a weapon, not necessarily a tool at all. And this ended up costing me $90 or something like that. But I thought it was a pretty good buy, all things considered. Love the rosewood. Love the last one I have is my Bowie knife. And as you can probably tell if you know your knives, this was made in Pakistan. But this was a gift from a good friend, actually my best friend, for a birthday present. And I don't have any Bowie knives, so this one actually looks pretty good. And that's it. So that's my knives. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, ask it in the comments section, see if I can answer it. And I'll give you one more tour of the knives as we close. Thanks for watching. One more look, a big flyover at my knives.